We in the building with my boy Hassan Hobo. What's good, my boy?
What's going on, man?
Man, same old, same old. It's 2018, man. How things been starting off for you so far?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
That's good, man. Just starting off, man. Let's just give the people an introduction of yourself. Your name, where you're from, and what exactly do you do?
My full name is Hassan G.G. Allen Ginsberg Hobo. I come from the Bronx, New York, but I have people out in Augusta and whatnot that I appreciate, and that's the place that I call home now, and I am a rapper.
Okay, so I'm actually from Augusta, bro.
Hey.
I didn't know you were from Augusta, so that's small world.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna start it off with the name, bro. I need you to break that name down one more time for me, as well as giving the people, the meaning behind your name. How did you come with that? How did you come up with that name?
Well, the full name is Hassan G.G. Allen Ginsberg Hobo, and one of my, two of my favorite artists are G.G. Allen and Allen Ginsberg. G.G. Allen is a deceased rock star, infamous for all of his crazy stunts, like shitting on stage, beating up people in the crowd, throwing glass at people. And Allen Ginsberg was one of the original beat poets. Him and Jack Kerouac, as well as the dude who wrote Junkie, William S. Burroughs, they're all like good friends, and he was one of my favorite poets, and I always thought it was like a weird dichotomy that like he shared like a name with like a person that was like so out there. And the El Hobo came from like when I first started out, I had a whole bunch of different names, and I couldn't really settle on anything. So I remember one day I made like an Instagram post, and like I always had a pretty weird style. So like my big brother, who actually got me into writing, he called it Hobo Couture. I was like, oh, that's funny. I'll start going by Hassan El Hobo, and it just kind of stuck. So.
Okay. So you said you're from the Bronx.
Yes.
Okay, so how long did you stay in New York? How long were you up there for?
Not very long. My mom decided to move down after my sister, her husband moved down. So I got here around maybe 9, 10, something like that. Okay,
and just give us a little glimpse of what you remember from being in the Bronx. What was it like for you up there?
It was a lot. The two of the most serious memories that I remember is the lady that stayed in the apartment next to us died, and no one knew. I remember we were going to Pathmark, and I came home, and like me and my mom was like, what is this smell in the hallway? And then the next day it was like, yeah, the old lady next to us died. She'd been in there for like a week, nobody knew. And then like not too long after, somebody jumped off the building, some crazy stuff like that. That was wild. I will never forget that. I just leaned out, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of blood. I'm not about to deal with that. But other than that, it was pretty fun. I got to spend a lot of time with like my family and stuff like that. A lot of them are still up there, so like I don't get to visit them as much or see them as much, but it's always nice to like remember that, that's where they are.
For sure. So you also said that you consider Augusta to be your home. Okay, so what part of Augusta do you consider yourself to be from?
Definitely. Damn.
Name the biggest or the most main street that you
Riceboro Road, man. I stay right down the street from the mall, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple partners stay really everywhere. Yeah. Down the Heritage though, that's where I spend a lot of my time.
Yeah. I had some homies out there. I had some homies across the street in George's place.
Yeah.
Fox Den, all that good stuff. Back when it was really about it.
I was gonna say it get gangsta over
there. Yeah, it was really about it. So
yeah, it get a little gangsta over there now.
And my mom tried to keep me out the streets to depending on who you talk to, a differing amount of security, but I still got some homies out there that's with the shits. So.
For sure, we probably know some of the same people.
Probably, man. Yeah,
honestly, because Augusta's really not that big.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah. So we're gonna dive into the music, man. So how did you get started with music?
Well, ever since like 5th grade, I always wanted to as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a rapper. It wasn't anything involved with like the fame or like the money or anything. It was just I love words. To this day, I still love words. I always wanted to be like a writer, a poet, something. So my big brother Jordan, he's the one that actually got me into writing. He taught me kind of like the ropes and everything. And he used to just give me flash drives full of music. I was already into music at that time. Like I had just stacks and stacks of like burned CDs and stuff. So I would just, just write constantly in notebooks. Then by the time I got to middle school, I remember I got laughed out of the first rap battle I was in. So at that point, it was just like a pride thing. Like, I'm gonna make sure nobody ever can like sun me anywhere at any time. And by the time I got to high school, I had won, or I had helped my teacher win a grant for a whole wing of the school, basically. And since he was a music instructor, he basically bought us a whole studio. And he taught me the ins and outs of the studio, and he let me like figure out like what it is that I wanted to do, because originally I was playing guitar, I learned how to play trumpet, and I was in band, but like even though I loved it, it wasn't like necessarily what I wanted to do. So like he taught me the ins and outs of the studio, and he basically let me run it from, I want to say 10th to my senior year, 10th grade to my senior year. So
okay. What high school did you go to?
Richmond.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely know somebody.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
2013.
Yeah, we probably know we have to know somebody along the same lines. Yeah, we have to. Okay. So I know you said your brother gave you a lot of flash drives and just a lot of music in general. What other inspirations do you think probably got you started with music?
Honestly, like I was just always into like just super weird artists and everything. He kind of put me onto a bunch of stuff because of course I started out with like Eminem, all the good stuff, but like a lot of my friends consider me to be like a rap scientist, like just, I love just finding new crazy artists to be into, and Jordan was really the one that put me onto that. A lot of early Doom, a lot of early Wu-Tang, just even some crazy dudes that we used to just find on the internet that were like exciting to us. So we decided to form a little group between us and our friends, and that was the thing that kind of pushed me to be better, because as good as I believe that I am, Jordan has always been like top tier writing for me. So
okay. So while I'm on the subject of asking other inspirations, I'm gonna ask you two different questions. So the first one is, well, I have a few questions actually.
No, it's fine.
The first one, it's not so much of a question, it's more so you listing your top 5 rappers of all time.
All time? Ooh, that's a good one. I'd have to say Blue, Milo, Elucid, Doom, and who's number 5? Who is number 5? Joey Green.
So I'm not really familiar with any of them. So you're gonna have to give me a little taste of something to where I can know like a little bit about them, man.
Well, Blue kind of came up around the same time as Lupe. He's a West Coast artist, and I remember his first tape. I want to say The Color Blue. That was a really good tape. Doom hails from New York. Metal Face Doom, definitely one of my favorite artists. Crazy dude, never really shows up to his own shows. Is infamous for having imposters at his own shows that like rap his music and everything, and his fans still show up. It's crazy. Milo is a kind of, depending on who you want to talk to, he started the whole art rap thing. He's definitely like more poet than human. And Elucid, definitely another one of my favorite New York artists. I don't even know how to begin to explain Elucid. He's super out there. Definitely one of my favorite noise rappers of all time. And Joey Green, DMV artist. I was actually listening to him a few minutes ago. He's very skilled, but he's like, it's more conventional, but like he just likes to rap, no hooks, nothing like that. He's all about the bars.
Okay. So next question is, another set of 5 for you. Give me your top 5 artists. Doesn't matter the genre of all time.
Definitely got to start off with my man Hunter S. Thompson. He's definitely one of my favorite writers of all time. Back when I had a group me, I used to go by Hassan S. Thompson, and people were just like, "That's not your actual name," and I just keep it a mystery as to who it was. William S. Burroughs. He was a good friend of Hunter S. Thompson at the time, and they both were like super heavy into drugs and whatnot. And his book Junkie, as well as Naked Lunch. Those are definitely two of my favorite novels of all time. Definitely very esoteric writing. Who else? Allen Ginsberg, where half of my namesake comes from. He's one of my favorite poets of all time. His spoken word has always like been very moving to me. G.G. Allen, just because he was insane, very insane individual. Two of my other favorite artists of all time.
You got time, man. There's no pressure.
Right? I'd have to say Caravaggio. He was a Renaissance painter. I actually did some reading up on him a couple years back, and he was, as much as he was a painter, he was like, I guess, the equivalent of a street thug back then. My man's was really he was with the shits. He ended up getting exiled to like a faraway island in Italy, or maybe it was Greece. I think it might have been Crete, but he was definitely like in and out. But like his painting was like so crazy for the way that he used like light, and definitely inspired Chiaroscuro. I think that's all I got right now.
For sure. How long have you been rapping, man? How long have you been making music?
Ever since 5th grade. I started recording in 10th grade, but I've been writing ever since 5th grade. So it's been about, I was 10 back then, 9, 10. I'm 22 now, so going on 12 years, just about, just pure writing.
And would you consider it to be 12 years of being totally serious with it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. Okay. So with your music, man, do you have a writing style or a process when creating your music?
I do. It's very freeform. I try, cause I never learned, for all of my like musical instruction, doing trumpet and guitar and all the other stuff, I never really learned to like count bars or like do sheet music or anything. Even like when I did band back in like 8th grade, like I used to just play by ear. Like, so, a lot of my writing style kind of like reflects that. I just kind of write what comes to mind. Sometimes I just don't write it. Sometimes I'm in the shower, I don't have time to grab my phone or something, so I just like remember it and I just recite it in my head until it feels right.
Okay.
So a lot of my stuff just comes from, I read. Sometimes I pull inspiration from things that I read, other artists that I like. Sometimes I, just look at paintings and I kind of like draw inspiration from that. But usually it just comes from like however long feels right, and I'll keep going until like I have to either edit stuff out or put it back in, or just. But it's very freeform, very just kind of put together like a jigsaw puzzle.
That's dope. That's very dope. So do you have specific producers that you like working with right now?
Yes, definitely. My man JK, he's out in, I want to say, Arizona. He's definitely one of my favorite artists to work with production-wise. Even though we haven't like actually like linked up in person, he's definitely on the same like vein of like production, weird loops and stuff that I like to do. And we end up, like, I see his like IG stories and everything, and he's like always posting music that I'm into, and he's like, "What, you like that too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I never knew that other people like even knew about this shit." So like, it's very cool to like see that, like, even if people aren't like rapping or writing, like they're still using the same inspirations to like make stuff that I like, and not only that, but I can contribute in a very meaningful way to like what it is that he likes. Who else? Definitely Riddle C. He's definitely another part of my team. I love working with him. I like Riddle C because like he definitely pushes me to do stuff outside of my norm. Being that like I love where I come from, the Bronx, I try to like tend towards more like loops, more jazzy, soulful stuff. But Riddle C, he definitely brings like a chopped and screwed like Southern flavor, which I don't think a lot of people understand. But that on top of like, the New York stuff, that's kind of like what I grew up listening to. A lot of my friends and even some of my other relatives that tried their hand at writing, like they just played chopped and screwed stuff. Like I still have old DJ Screw tapes that like I listen to. So
for sure. You have any artists that you're working with right now that you, I guess that you spend a lot of time working with right now?
Definitely JK, Carla. She's another one that I enjoy working with a lot. She also pushes me. She does like a lot of out there production. I definitely enjoy working with the other members of Raincloud a lot. There's so many like different styles and stuff that they bring to the table that it kind of pushes me outside of my boundaries and stuff. So like they'll ask me to be on songs or like beats and stuff that like normally I'd say like maybe 3 or 4 years ago I'd be like, nah, you know, I couldn't do that. But now it's more of a challenge as to like, you know, can I, not even can I, but like how is it that I'm going to approach the song? And they also kind of like bring different perspectives that I can respect as well as admire. So I'm kind of arrogant, so I never really, there are a bunch of rappers out there that I'm like, nah, I'd never work with you. So
So speaking about producers and other artists, man, right now a lot of artists are picking their beats and stuff off of YouTube. So I just like to get your take on YouTube beats and the type beats on YouTube. Man. Do you use them? Do you dislike them? Do you like them? How you feel about them?
Any of my homies know, I hope that like, I don't know if they said this in any of their interviews, but they know I hate those shits. Oh my god. Ever since like in high school, I never ever wanted to touch those beats. I felt like, one, they never really fit the artist that they tried to like a J. Cole type beat. Like, you can't make a beat like J. Cole. You can't make a beat like Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that they're going for like a certain feel, but like, anytime I sit down, I try to think of how would I approach this. I feel like ever trying to step into someone else's shoes, even someone that I admire, I feel like that it's too hard for me. It's not something that I can do because their process isn't the same, their inspirations aren't the same. Even some of the stuff that they say isn't the same. So like when it comes to those types of beats, I usually find them to be very limiting because like they're not really doing anything different. They're just, you know, it's either a loop or, you know, like an instrumental that a lot of times, like, I've heard so much rap at this point that like I can pick out samples. So I'm just like, I've heard that sample somewhere else, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not anything like new or like challenging to me. Yeah. So I try to stay away from YouTube when it comes to beats as much as possible.
Okay. Do you produce at all?
No, I've tried. I've been trying. At this point, I don't have the patience for it. I keep being told by like my production inclined friends that like if I ever decided to do it, that it would be insane, and I agree. But like, I just don't have the energy or the time for it. But now that I've been like doing it a lot more, what the fuck is that?
Love that.
Now that I've begun to work with JK and stuff, I'm starting to see where like I can kind of like find like a good middle ground for like me to start. So hopefully within the next couple, I don't even want to say years, maybe months, I'm definitely gonna sit down and try my hand at it again. So
for sure. So let's touch on some of your most recent work that you've released. Just name a few projects that you've released, a few singles or anything that you've released, as well as letting the people know, you know, where they can reach your music, where can they purchase and support your music, man?
Hey, so I just dropped Kill Your Doubt.zip a few months ago. That was definitely one of my least favorite projects to do because I had so many different ideas for it, but they didn't really pan out the way that I wanted them to. But it's not something that I'm necessarily ashamed of. It was just one of those things where I feel like I had to get it out in order to figure out where I wanted to like be rap wise. Because before that point, I had dropped. Damn, how can I not remember my own stuff?
That just mean you out working.
Yeah, man, I'm doing a lot.
That just mean you working.
But the first tape that I dropped, I've done like at least 5 or 6 projects ever since I've been in college, and the last one I did before Kill Your Doubt, it was definitely planned out very well. I liked it. It was a double release, and it kind of like gave me a bunch of ideas to start with, and I tried to like do more with Kill Your Doubt, and I like it. Kill Your Doubt I specifically released with all of the mistakes that I made during the recording of the songs in it, in order to like kind of give the audience a feel for like what it was that I was trying to do and how imperfect it was. So with that, hopefully going into the next project, I'll have more cemented ideas. I did just drop Midnight Flights to Odessa on my SoundCloud, which you can find. It's Hassan El Hobo at SoundCloud.com.
I'll make sure they gonna have a name and everything.
Nice.
Social media to post.
Nice. I also have a Bandcamp, same name, and that's where anyone can go to find my stuff. I also set up a website called whatahumbleduke.com where I have both my music and my film stuff up, as most people probably didn't know. I have hands in like multiple different types of artistry, and I'm trying to get my film stuff to where I am rap wise. So I'm trying to get everything to coalesce in a very like natural way. But yeah, Kill Your Doubt was the last thing that I put out. Definitely one of my least favorite projects. I listened to it and I'm like, damn, like there's like certain aspects where you can hear people closing doors during the recording process. I flubbed some words and whatnot, but I felt like it was important for people to see that, like, you know, like for all the praise and stuff that I get for being like at such a high level that I hold myself to when it comes to rap, I think it's important to see that like it's not perfect, and I struggle with, you know, like, are people gonna like this? Do I like this enough to keep it? Like, you know, so I decided to keep everything, mistakes and all, so people could see like the whole of what it was that I'm trying to do.
Real raw and cut, man.
Definitely.
Sure. So 2018, man. Do you have anything that you can give to the fans or talk about that you're releasing this year, music-wise?
Yes, definitely. I'm working on a project right now. Right now, the tentative name is We Marry Band, and I'm working on that with JK. It's gonna be exclusively us, I think, save for like one beat. But I'm definitely trying to like put something together that kind of like explores the idea of like cult mentality in general, just like the occult, cults, like cults of personality, cult followings, things like that. And I think it's very interesting to see like what is it that makes certain people so like attracted to others, you know, people that we never know, people that like we never see, we never actually interact with. What is it that makes other human beings with subjective experiences that sometimes mirror ours and sometimes don't? What is it that draws us all together, whether it be through music, art, just, you know, any other thing, you know? Because I personally have never been, even though I have my favorite people that I go to and stuff, like I've never actually wanted to be anyone else. I hate following people. I hate the idea of being in anyone else's shoes. Anyone can tell you I hate the idea of me being a role model. If someone were to tell me that like they want to be like me when they grow up, or they want to like do the same type of music that I do, I don't like it. I want you to be better. I want you to do something different. I think all voices are necessary. So like it's always been interesting to me to see like what is it that draws people so close to others that they're willing to follow them without any type of I guess thought about, you know, what is the whole aspect of a person. Because I think everybody, just outside of duality, like we just all have things that like are considered good, things that are considered bad, you know, things that are neutral. So like I'd like to try and figure out through music and, you know, film what is it that draws us all together.
For sure. So I didn't know that you actually do film, so I want to dig into that a little bit, man. When did you get started doing film?
I actually got started when I got here at college. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go into music as a major because like I did band and stuff all throughout high school and middle school, and I was like kind of done with it. And I think the rigidity of classroom instruction definitely was not for me when it came to music. I feel the same way about film now that I've like almost reached the end of like my college career with it, but I feel like it was necessary in order to figure out how to break the rules. When it came to rap, I figured out what the rules were for myself and I learned how to break them. So I think with film, I don't think there was anything wrong with the fact that like I had instructors and stuff to teach me the ropes before I decided to break them. But I got into it honestly because it was the only major that only required one class that had math in it, and I hate math. So I was like, you know what, this is the one for me. And it definitely opened up a lot of different doors. Even now, like, I'm not ashamed to say I wish I had like done communication, which was my minor. I wish I had done that a lot more. But I feel like visual literacy and like being able to like convey stuff like through just sight and dialogue alone, I think that's I think it's very, very closely tied into rap. And I think a lot of my favorite artists, I consider them auteurs. I feel like they're definitely on the same level as like anyone whose movies and stuff that I love. They're people who have figured out how to take the ideas in their head and draw them out in a way where not only people can see what it is that they're thinking clearly, but also they like it. I think it's a very interesting aspect to be able to take something that only you thought of, or you know, something that maybe you came up with by yourself, and make everyone kind of see what it is that you were thinking. And not only that, but I feel like it brings a lot of different perspectives. And personally, I think about my music more so in a way of a visual sense. I don't really think of words that go together. I don't think of things that rhyme. I think of pictures, and I think of different scenes that like I would like to write out personally. So I try to approach a lot of my stuff is scenery. One of my favorite tapes that I've done, I actually labeled it a spec script, which is in the film industry, it's you write something that could be basically, it's kind of like a demo tape for film, and you can write it on something that's already been done, or you can do an original thing, but it's basically like, you know, a demo tape, and you shop it around to other things. So like one of my tapes that I did, El Hobotron, I labeled it a spec script. So it was, even though it was purely musical, I didn't really have too many videos and stuff to go along with it. The way that I went about forming the narrative for the whole thing was basically like just scenes. They're all just scenes in my head. So that was really cool.
For sure. Hey, you working motherfucker.
Where do you see your rap career in the next 2 to 5 years, or even your film career?
Well, one of my favorite artists, Milo, he's opened up he has his own label. He's opened up a record store in Maine, and I think he's been one of my favorite inspirations because like he knows he's not one of the norm, and he takes a lot of pride in that, and he definitely has a vision of like piloting, because his label's called Rubaiyat, and like he's trying to pilot his Rubaiyat through the universe. So I eventually would like to, I don't necessarily want to head a label, but I definitely want to own like a multimedia like division of something. I like all types of art, so I definitely want to bring other weirdos underneath my umbrella, and not necessarily like guide them or anything, but at least give them the resources to, you know, yeah, definitely live out their wildest dreams to do the crazy shit that I want to do. So I guess in 2 to 5 years, I would definitely like to at least have a footing where I don't have to rely on other people to shoot my videos or, you know, record my stuff. Like I definitely want to have everything in-house, because I think DIY has always been like my dream. Like even with me and Jordan, like I remember like the first few recordings I did, we did that like in his room with like a snowball mic and like a bootleg version of like Adobe. So and I think that was like really cool. And I think a lot of my friends are into that. I know Raincloud, like we do everything in-house. Ray makes logos and everything. We have like multiple producers, and you know, we write everything ourselves. We try to keep everything as insular as possible. I think once you get too many hands in the pot that aren't like, they're not there for you, but they're there for the profit, or like, you know, like whatever it is that they can get out of it. I think the further and further away from like the original like project or whatever it is, it gets so removed from that, and it gets so commercialized that like I just can't stomach it. If I can't make what I want to make, be it good or bad, then I don't want to do it. So
I definitely feel that, totally. So I know you're in school, man. So I want to know, what is it like for you balancing being an artist, being so hands-on with so much, you know, being in school, balancing relationships, and just being a human. Like, what is it like balancing everything for you right now?
it's incredibly difficult. It's something that I haven't necessarily really mastered, which I think it's fine. I think it's like fun to me to the fact that I haven't like gotten everything where I want it to be, but I think it's definitely necessary for someone like me that wants to kind of like have their hands in everything. Because when I first got here, you know, like I was breezing through core classes, but like I would barely go. You know, I would basically like spend all my time writing, but it kind of grows lonely at that point. So like I kind of have to balance being able to like network and you know, write and go to shows and like print merch or come up with different ideas, work with other people, which is something that like in the beginning, like I didn't have any interest in doing. Like the whole networking aspect and, you know, trying to like submit like shows and stuff with people, it was nothing that I had an idea for. It was nothing that I had a taste for. But I realized more and more that not only is it like necessary, but like it's a good thing, especially since I'm not a very social person. So it's definitely like forced me to get out of my comfort zone and try and figure out like new and inventive ways to like get to where I want to be, especially since like I don't want to do it in like a very commercialized way. I don't want to be a part of the zeitgeist. So a lot of my friends, like Aaron Cooler, he runs the Birdhouse. He's definitely like one of the people that like I look up to. He's getting it out the mud. He's hosting shows in his own house. So I think that's a crazy thing. And all of my other friends, like I don't know anyone that's like connected to like, you know, huge businesses. I don't have anyone who's made like huge breaks or anything. I don't have any connections to people that like know other people or anything. It's usually just me and like my friends. And we, you know, we're just trying to do something cool for, you know, the people that we know. So it's crazy. I really don't feel like I'm that dope. I honestly, I've never really tried to like be the best rapper ever. I've just tried to be like the best artist that I know I could be. So like I've never wanted to like walk in anyone else's shoes. I never wanted to be on anyone else's path. So it's always been a fun thing for me to like find other people that are willing to like go off the beaten path and like not even if they don't do what it is that they necessarily set out to do. I think the idea of like doing anything outside of the norm and trying and failing, I feel like that's definitely like a fun aspect of it. Hey, get the fuck out my house, nigga. Yo, I told you my roommate stole me. Hey, my nigga.
What the fuck are you smoking?
It's a black. I know, right? It's sacrilegious.
Nigga, what? That is literally a fucking black, nigga. What kind of black?
It literally even says black.
Exact change.
For sure.
Yeah, man, you know how it goes.
Hey.
So,
not much, man, having this interview.
that's, I don't know, that look like you just want to cancel, man. That shit like death, nigga. What the fuck?
That's why I like them. I was like, wow, these you can't even lie and say these shit's not gonna kill you. Like these shit's definitely about to kill you. It literally just says black.
Is it like the jazz?
No.
No, it's like a whole different. I don't even know how to explain it. It's
You want to see the box? Yeah.
It's a whole different like avenue.
Yeah, they're called like Yarum Blacks or something like that, and like they literally just come in a black box, and like they're all like just straight black.
I know this nigga interview.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I ain't trying to hold y'all niggas up, man.
Oh no, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bro.
Aww. Like, hey, you can chill if you want.
Camera's been recording. I need all this shit.
Hey.
Hey.
I mean,
Hey, Vic. Y'all ain't bring the dog? I'm sad.
no.
So this is not no poodle, okay? He takes effort to do
How big is he?
Nigga, I'm broke.
Like,
nigga, that's dead, bro. Dead ass, nigga. Like, what the fuck?
That's the pawn shop.
Yeah, man. You know, I just like gotta look, man. I'm pretty sure it's just like, look, like, damn, I ain't got my earring in, man.
fucking grabbing his shirt. You know, just melanin all the way through.
Hey, man, you know. But nah, man, you already know how it is when we get on, though, man. You know, man. She gonna be
36.
She gonna be Egypt, nigga.
Straight royalty.
Put it in a sarcophagus.
Alright, bro, so my last question for you. What advice would you have for a person that's chasing their dreams, following their passions? What advice would you have for a person, man?
I recently learned that, and this was dropped on me by a good friend of mine, that passion is not a description of how excited you are about something. It's usually measured in a real world sense by given an obstacle or any set of obstacles, how willing are you to continue to do what it is that you like to do without changing goals? So if you have a passion for something, don't let your first, second, third, seventh failure be the last time you ever try to touch it. If it's something that you really want to do, keep doing it, even if no one pays you, if no one pays attention. Just do it. That's all I got.
For sure.
Hey, alright, so second try, I'm not gonna lie. Still searching for that bootleg, arm, leg, head, that's what the troops said. He said he's searching for that bootleg, arm, leg, arm, head, that's what the troops said. Yo, he said he's searching for that bootleg, arm, leg, arm, head, that's what the troops said. Yo, he said he's searching for that bootleg, arm, leg, arm, head, that's what the troops said. Yo, so ain't nobody really fucking with Dracula, and I ain't invite you in, so why are you backing us? Trying to get that back and sacrifice. Duck down after dust clear, you should duck here, stop bucks at the office where we parcel out the fucks for the year. So searching for his ends and figures in with his chucks in the air, touch and agree, such we can find the confines of our flux and then flee. Cogito ergo sum ain't enough black, back to the wall and I can trust that. Only so much rationale we can rationale, brash trying to catch me outside. If you needed to know, dog, well shit, you would've known now. Hands on whatever books you find sacred. It's still that limited edition still in the pack that I can't make up. Ain't no mockeries bringing myrrh to the manger. And I'm resolute throwing skirts when they say sup, nigga. Still searching for that bootleg, arm, leg, arm, head. That's what the troops said.
For sure. Laugh.
Once again, my name is Hassan L. Allen Ginsberg Hobo. Hassan L. Hobo for short. You can find my music at SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Hassan L. Hobo. Also got a website, What a Humble Duke. You can go there and find my stuff. I'm also on Instagram at Zato Ichiban, ZATOICHIBAN. And you know, I got a Twitter, Hassan the X He Is, all one word. And you know, that's all I got.